Right now, extremely critical things are happening behind the scenes for Mass Effect 5, and this time it's not just the developers speaking, but Commander Shepard's own voice, Jennifer Hale. Hale openly said Shepard could return, but that might depend not on us, but on what you want. And with EA restructuring BioWare and shifting its entire focus to Mass Effect 5, this game has become more than a sequel. It has become BioWare's fate-defining project. We're about to break down everything in detail, but before we dive in, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Let's begin. The Mass Effect universe has been silent for a long time, but as of today, that silence has officially been broken. Because both EA's new statements regarding BioWare and the confessions from Jennifer Hale, the legendary voice of Commander Shepard, make it clear that Mass Effect 5 is not just a new game, but BioWare's make-or-break title. And the most striking part is this. For the first time, the future of Mass Effect may be in the hands of us, the players. EA recently announced that BioWare's entire focus is now on Mass Effect 5. That might sound simple, but it perfectly summarizes the studio's current situation. After Dragon Age: The Veilguard, BioWare is being restructured, some developers are being moved to other EA studios, while certain roles are being completely eliminated. BioWare is shrinking, streamlining, and placing all of its risk on a single project, Mass Effect 5. At this point, it stops being just a new Mass Effect game. Mass Effect 5 is no longer BioWare's Hopefully It Works title, it has become the title that must work. Veilguard's sales performance didn't satisfy EA, and EA now wants guaranteed success. And guaranteed success means one thing: nostalgia, emotional attachment, and legendary characters. And in the Mass Effect universe, that means only one name: Shepard. That's exactly where Jennifer Hale steps in. When asked whether Shepard will return in Mass Effect 5, Hale gave a very clear and very critical answer: I have no idea. But if you want Shepard back, email BioWare and tell them. That sentence is basically a confession. BioWare hasn't even locked down the game's core direction yet. Shepard's return is still on the table, and for the first time, that decision has been openly left to fan reaction. So, Mass Effect 5 is currently at a crossroads. It will either attempt another Andromeda-style fresh start, or it will return to the legendary spirit of the trilogy and become a true continuation centered on Shepard. And when you consider BioWare's financial and structural pressure, it's painfully clear which option is far safer. What makes Jennifer Hale's words even more powerful is the emotional bond she has with Shepard. Hale recalls crying when she first saw female Shepard appear on the reversible cover of Mass Effect 3. That cover marked the moment when FemShep was no longer just an alternate option, but an official face of the franchise. For Hale, Shepard isn't just a role, she's a part of her life. So when she says, "I would love to return," it's not just politeness, it's genuine desire. She experienced the same emotional moment when she watched the first FemShep-focused Legendary Edition trailer. Until then, female Shepard had never been front and center in any Mass Effect trailer. That trailer officially put her on display. Hale describes that moment as, "I was shocked and I cried." And that's why Shepard's return isn't just nostalgia, it represents a chance for both closure and rebirth for the year series. Meanwhile, another crucial reality at BioWare, Mass Effect 5 hasn't even entered full production yet. Former BioWare producer Mark Dara has stated that the studio simply cannot throw hundreds of developers at Mass Effect 5 right now because the game's identity is still being formed. The story, the main character, the galactic threat, the timeline, none of it is finalized. The decisions being made right now will define Mass Effect's legacy for the next decade, which means the timing for Shepard's return could not be more critical. BioWare is actively asking, what is Mass Effect going to be? And the safest possible answer to that question is a character already etched into millions of players' hearts. If Shepard returns, it won't be a cameo, it will reshape the game's soul, tone, and marketing identity. BioWare's plan to become a smaller, more agile, more focused studio only strengthens this possibility. This means fewer risks, fewer experiments, and more guaranteed wins. A shift toward legends rather than surprises. And having the galaxy's most iconic hero return as the face of this new BioWare era now feels less like an option and more like a necessity. BioWare's restructuring makes it even clearer why Mass Effect 5 is such a critical turning point. The studio no longer has the luxury of developing multiple major RPGs simultaneously. With EA's decisions, BioWare is shrinking, simplifying, and focusing all its energy on one project. That turns Mass Effect 5 into not just a new game, but BioWare's survival test. If this game fails, we may never see the old BioWare again. That's why Shepard's return is no longer just fan service. It has become a strategic move that could define the company's future. Because Shepard represents Mass Effect's golden age. Shepard represents the era where BioWare's RPG storytelling was at its peak. And for a publisher like EA, this means choosing guaranteed success over risky experimentation. This also makes the mysterious hints dropped on N7 Day 2025 far more meaningful. The secret Krogan Civil War art, mass relay imagery, and Mike Gamble's statement, everything you've seen so far will be connected, quietly signaled a return to the franchise's roots. Krogan Wars, ancient alliances, galactic balance, these are all pillars of the Shepard era. And if Mass Effect 5 is truly being built on these foundations, leaving Shepard out would create a massive narrative void. Because Shepard is the one who lived those wars, made those choices, and shaped that era. Without Shepard, telling a true continuation story becomes nearly impossible. When you put all of this together, one truth becomes clear. Mass Effect 5 now represents far more than a writing process. This is a moment where BioWare confronts its own past, tests the emotional bond of its fans, and decides the fate of the Shepard legend. One decision here could shape both the franchise and the studio for decades. And now we reach the most striking part. Jennifer Hale's email BioWare call isn't just a casual fan remark. It reveals the studio's internal uncertainty. Normally, big studios already have their main character locked in. But if Hale genuinely has no idea, that means Mass Effect 5's heart is still being formed. Shepard's fate is literally an unwritten page, which makes fan power more important than ever. EA and BioWare are now watching not just sales but community reactions. Social media engagement, forum debates, email campaigns, and even YouTube comments are starting to shape decision-making. Every post calling for Shepard's return pulls Mass Effect 5 closer to its legendary roots. So, what kind of game would Mass Effect 5 become if Shepard returns? Most likely not a new galaxy adventure, but a legendary farewell and rebirth story. Shepard may be older, the galaxy may be changed, threats may be more complex, but the story would center on one final stand, a narrative space where BioWare's storytelling truly shines. This kind of story wouldn't just bring back old fans, it would also pull in players who distance themselves after Andromeda. Because people don't just want new names, they want to reconnect with the character they grew up with. If Shepard returns, Mass Effect 5 becomes an event, not just a game. That's why Mass Effect 5 is currently one of the most fragile yet most powerful projects in gaming. Fragile, because it may be BioWare's last chance. Powerful, because it holds one of gaming's most beloved heroes. And whether that hero steps back onto the stage may very well depend on the reactions we're giving right now. When you connect all these pieces, a clear and exciting picture emerges. Mass Effect 5 is no longer a standard sequel. It has become a test of whether BioWare can reconnect with its past, honor its legends, and touch players' hearts again. EA shrinking the studio, redistributing teams, and putting all focus on Mass Effect shows just how serious this test really is. Shepard's return is therefore not just a character choice, it's a decision that will redefine BioWare's identity. Either the studio will attempt to rebuild everything from scratch, or it will say this is who we are and return to Mass Effect's core. That core is made of choices, sacrifices, losses, and hope. And at the center of all of it has always been one name, Commander Shepard. If BioWare brings Shepard back, Mass Effect 5 will likely tell not just a new threat, but a legacy story. We'll see how the galaxy evolved after Shepard, where old allies stand, and how past choices reshaped the universe. That would transform Mass Effect 5 from a side story like Andromeda into the true continuation of the main saga. And perhaps most importantly, Shepard's return would be a promise to the players, a way of saying, we hear you and we're bringing back the Mass Effect you love. This wouldn't just be a character returning, it would be a studio reconnecting with its fans. And that gives Shepard's return enormous weight in the gaming world. Mass Effect 5 has entered the most critical crossroads in the franchise's history, and the decisions BioWare makes will define the next decade of this universe. Whether Shepard returns, which direction the game takes, and what Mass Effect becomes next are slowly becoming clear. So don't forget to like the video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of these developments.